Hey everyone, welcome to our release kickoff for milestone 15.4. My name is David DeSanto. I lead product here at GitLab. I will be your MC today for the live stream. Last month, Justin Ferris filled in for me, and a big thank you to him for doing so. Unfortunately, he set the bar a lot higher, so hopefully I can live up to his example. Today, I'm joined by some of the members of our awesome product team. They are, in the order they will be presenting, Kenny Johnston, Senior Director of Product for our Ops and Analytics sections, and he'll be providing our Ops section update. Josh Lambert, Director of Product for our Enablement and SaaS Platform sections, and he will be providing updates for our Enablement section. Melissa Ushakov, Group Product Manager for our Plan and Ecosystem stages, will be providing our updates for the Dev section. Derek Ferguson, Senior Product Manager for Secure Dynamic Analysis, will be providing our updates for the Sec section. And then Taylor McCaslin, Group Product Manager for our Model Ops and Anti-View stages, will bring us home with updates from the Model Ops section. We are focused on delivering value iteratively with a focus on our FY23 product investment themes. Those are GitLab hosted first, which does not mean GitLab hosted only. GitLab.com is the largest known self-managed deployment. It's a little bit clearer for you. And we know that if we can meet the needs of GitLab.com, we can meet the needs of our users. Our second theme is improved key workflow usability. This is focused on improving workflows most critical to our users. And we know if we can improve learnability, we can drive multi-stage adoption, which provides more value to the user. And our final theme is extend our lead in CI/CD. DevOps doesn't end until applications are deployed in production, and we want to make sure that is seamless and frictionless as possible. Before I hand it over to Kenny, I do want to go over our short public service announcement. On this live stream, we will be discussing our product roadmap, which does include upcoming features and functionality. It's important to note that the information presented is for informational purposes only. Please do not rely on it to make purchasing or planning decisions. We plan very ambitiously here at GitLab, and all details discussed on this live stream today are subject to change. The timing of any products, features, and functionalities is at the sole discretion of GitLab. Okay, now that I got that out of the way, I'm going to hand it over to Kenny to kick us off. Over to you, Kenny.
Awesome, thanks, David. Let me go ahead and share my screen real quick. Okay, so my name is Kenny. I'm the product leader covering the Ops section. The Ops section is comprised of verify, package, release, configure, and monitor stages at GitLab. We seek to enable rapid adoption of Ops best practices by providing an amazing developer experience while providing enterprises with the tools they need to ensure that that happens efficiently and safely. I'm going to highlight one really exciting initiative that is about extending our lead in Ops, and then 4 upcoming features for improving key workflows in the Ops section. All right, so the first one, I'm super excited to showcase this. Many of you know that GitLab has a very robust incident management capability that includes both escalations, incident timelines, which we recently added, the ability to manage incidents themselves, and alerting based on ingesting of performance alerts. All really exciting stuff. There's a key part of that workflow that we have not yet invested heavily in that we're going to over the next couple of releases, and that is an incident workflow via Slack. So most organizations who are responding to incidents are doing so in Slack. And so we're going to build a really great experience where we connect your single source of truth for the incident from GitLab with the ability to collaborate directly in Slack. So that is starting with technical investigation in the 15.4 release, but we're going to be adding capabilities like the ability to use a / command to declare an incident directly within Slack that will create an incident and populate it with the important links that you reference, including the incident Slack channel right in your GitLab single source of truth. And then the ability to have kind of bi-directional communication where in GitLab, you can add a comment and add a specific / command like this Slack incident example here. And that comment will post to Slack and vice versa. You can add a comment in Slack that will automatically post to the GitLab incident or even the incident's timeline. So you can memorialize specific things that are happening in Slack as critical to how you responded to an incident. Super exciting to kind of bring this full life cycle back to GitLab being the single source of truth for your instance and really allow for users who are utilizing Slack for the kind of quick collaboration needed when responding to an incident to do so directly integrated with their GitLab experience. In the key workflows front, there are 4 key items that I wanted to touch on. The first is making it easier to understand and differentiate the types of pipelines you're using. So GitLab has standard pipelines that are triggered from commits, and then what we've called detached pipelines that are often triggered from changes in merge requests and are especially common when you use merge trains. So those can be both the merge train pipeline that is pre-merging your merge request into master and the one that actually performs the merge after you hit merge on a merge request. Those have all kind of universally been labeled as detached when viewing your pipelines in the pipeline view. We're going to start differentiating them between merge request, merge result, and merge train pipelines so that users can easily find the pipeline most associated with an exact merge request that they're interested in. Super excited and a highly requested feature that will provide clarity when reviewing various pipelines in your projects. Next, we're going to be surfacing the custom variables that you add to manual jobs when you run them manually. So in GitLab for a long time, you have been able to trigger manual jobs from specific pipeline definitions and also supply custom variables into those jobs so that you can manually say, these are the variables that I want to inject into this job definition and execute it. What you haven't been able to do necessarily is then go back and change the variables that you have submitted or understand which variables you did submit when reviewing the job itself as it processes. We're going to be adding in 15.4 the ability to use this dropdown in retrying the job to not just retry it, but also update the variables. And when you update the variables, you also get a view of what variables were used when you transacted the job in the first place. This really helps when you're trying to triage pipelines or perform manual review of a recently added pipeline job. In the release section, we're going to be adding the ability to search for environment names. Our environments page are becoming heavily utilized with organizations creating an increasing number of environments. And so we'll be adding the ability to easily search for a specific name within that environment view. So for example, if you only want to look at the review apps, you can drill down to just filtering your view of environments to just those environments that are created for review apps. And then the last two are, the last one is about improving our artifacts table. So today, your pipeline can generate pipeline artifacts, but it's difficult sometimes to triage those pipelines to understand if they should be deleted or to understand what actually triggered the specific pipeline artifact, what pipeline commit user. And so we're going to be improving that experience by adding a lot more information to our pipeline artifacts view in this tab. So you can see things like the number of artifacts generated by a specific pipeline, the branch that it was created from, that the pipeline was created from, the commit, and the creator and the user of that, the creator being the specific user who triggered that pipeline. So this will really improve your ability to triage artifact pipelines, find specific ones from specific pipelines, and make decisions about which ones might need to be saved or reviewed or deleted. So those are the exciting things that are happening across extending our lead in ops and key workflows in the ops section. With that, I will hand it over to Josh for the enablement section.
Thanks, Kenny. Those are really exciting. Looking forward to those arriving on our product later this month, or next month, I should say. So I'm Josh Lambert again, going to take us through the enablement highlights, and we will start off with GitLab hosted first for this year. Real quick off the top, we'll be working on a fair bit of compliance related work this release as well. But with that said, we can jump into additional GitLab hosted first work as well. And the big one for Geo is that we will be continuing to shift more of our existing kind of bespoke replication code for projects, wikis, and also container registry over into the self-service framework. This is to get rid of the kind of bespoke one-off code that replicates them and moving more towards the framework where we can get a lot more velocity and maintenance benefits as part of our investments there. So looking forward to that and being able to, again, consolidate our code base here. And we're also on the database group side looking to support our partners over in ops and supporting our CI partitioning effort. And in particular, we're working on and focusing on making our tools that we offer to teams within GitLab and our broader community to better be able to partition the tables that they are responsible for. And so you can see a bit of work here we have in flight for helping to make sure we improve those partitioning tools. And we're working very closely with the CI team to make sure if we identify gaps, we also address them in real time as we need them to make sure the effort moves forward. So looking forward to that. And that is our main GitLab hosted first work, and we are moving on into key workflow usability. And the big one for us is we'll be continuing to work towards moving towards vertical navigation for our global search experience. So right now you have a horizontal kind of tabbed bar, which is not very flexible. And we are moving towards a more dynamic left rail side navigation, which a lot of you are probably familiar with in many other products. So really excited about this. And we'll be doing this again to kind of provide the foundation, but also then be able to build on it by offering, for example, the ability to filter by language on code search. And so you'll be able to see, for example, how many different language files you have and results you have, and be able to browse through those more effectively when you're looking for a particular type of result here. So looking forward to those and really improving that search experience as well. Continuing on for advanced search, we're also looking to begin the work to include labels as a facet, or more generally as something that we index and then offer to filter on. So with that foundation of that left rail side and the indexing, we can now be able to offer label filtering within Google search as well, which will make things much easier to find because labels are very popular, as you can see, for example, from my sidebar here and how many labels that we use. And with that, we can move over into more of the kind of maintenance work that we're going through and doing. So we are working on the memory team, which is now called the application performance team, to continuing to improve how we can investigate Puma memory usage. And so in particular here, we will be finishing off the work to get running information and heap dumps off of our kind of running code base in production, so we can actually understand how things are behaving under various workloads and production use cases. And then we can better tune our optimizations and memory utilization over time for these use cases. And we'll also be doing adding support for Ubuntu 22.04, which is important because the current release of the LTS is kind of kind of trending towards deprecation. And then we also have kind of wrapping things up here, improving how we handle secret management and Omnibus. This isn't a problem in our Kubernetes and hybrid offerings, but for Omnibus, oftentimes there can be some secrets that are in the configuration files, and we are working towards removing those. And so we'll be going through and making sure all of our Rails passwords are migrated over into our secret-based solution, which is encrypted. And then we'll also be working towards having a system for all the other non-Rails passwords like Postgres and things like that that we provision and configure, but don't necessarily have in Rails as well. And so we're looking to make that pluggable so we can plug into your own secret management solution for those who self-manage GitLab for something like Vault. So looking forward to making this an overall better experience for our users and better handling how we deal with secrets on that particular kind of VM Omnibus side. And with that, I'll pass it over to Melissa to talk about dev.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Melissa. I'm representing the dev section. The dev section is made up of manage, plan, create, and ecosystem, and I've got a lot of exciting stuff to share with you for 15.4. The first one being around improving the onboarding experience for SCIM or SSO provision users. This is aligned to our GitLab hosted first theme. So for users that are provisioned by a group and the group has a verified domain associated with it, there's going to be an option to bypass email verification for those specific users. This is really a highly requested feature by enterprises because it makes it a lot easier for their users to get started using GitLab. I'm also excited to share our rollout of the auto-disabled webhooks alert features. So what this is going to do is that for 400 errors, users will need to reconfigure and re-enable webhooks if you encounter a certain number of errors. And for 500 errors, webhooks will enter a cooldown period to allow the system to come back. So this is what an alert will look like. This will be shown to project owners and maintainers, letting them know that there's something they need to look at. We're going to improve system stability with this feature, and we're also going to be giving customers confidence that their webhooks are functioning as expected. And in this theme first, also, we're going to be improving GitLab Pages performance by rolling out internal API caching. Now moving on to our theme of key workflow usability. You will now be able to prevent MRs with failed status checks from being merged. Previously, MR authors could see the result of status checks, but they could merge the MRs regardless of the results. Now projects can be set up to optionally block on this. So this is what this will look like. It's another configuration check. And what this does, it allows users to rely entirely on external status checks to approve or reject MRs based on their custom logic or results from third-party tools. This milestone will also be introducing the option to manage configuration for the pipeline's must-succeed settings at the group level. Previously, this was only available at the project level. Doing this at the group level will basically allow it to propagate to all child projects, and is aligned with our story of giving compliance team a single place to set properties, and it will look like this. You'll have an option to enforce for all subgroups and projects. Last milestone, we introduce tasks for issues. If you haven't seen that, you should check it out. In 15.4, we'll be adding support for iterations. And this improvement specifically sets the stage for other improvements like showing tasks on boards. And the same theme of planning, if you've ever planned a large-scale project before, you know work can span many teams across many departments and across many GitLab groups. Today, you can only add a child issue to an epic if it's within the same group hierarchy. And in this next milestone, we're going to be expanding that and allowing you to add child issues from projects in a different group hierarchy. This milestone, we're only tackling this change for issues, and then subsequent milestones will be allowing sub-epics from different groups to be added as children. Again, on the usability theme, we're going to be updating our top nav to be simpler, less redundant, and easier to use. Let me show you what that will look like. It will look like this. We're going to be removing the level menu since it's redundant. We're going to be removing some options that are duplicative. And we're going to be grouping the options together more logically to make it easier to find what you need. I'm really excited about this new design. And it's right here. And last but not least, on the theme of extend our lead in CI/CD, we've made great advances in DORA metric capabilities over the last few milestones, and there's more coming in 15.4. You'll be able to see a comparative DORA for metrics based on time so that you can compare how you're doing over a 30-day period and know what's working and what still needs focus for your groups to get better. Also for DORA 4 is adding a date range picker to the metrics page. This is a usability improvement that was going to make it easier for you to dissect your data and analyze it to see, again, what's working and what still needs focus. So that's the summary for dev. I hope you're as excited as I am about what's coming. And I'm now going to turn it over to Derek, who's going to be covering sec.
All right, thank you, Melissa. That is extremely exciting. There's several things in there that I am particularly excited for. All right, so I'm going to go over what sec has coming up in 15.4. Just as a reminder, sec contains the protect and secure stages. So looking at what we've got in 15.4, all of the features that I'll be talking about fall into the FY23 product theme of improving key workflow usability. So first off, in the protect stage, we'll be enabling group and subgroup level scan result policies. This is a feature that I know a lot of people have asked for. So it will allow you to set a policy based on a scan result at the group level and have that apply to projects in that group rather than setting the policies in each individual project. This should be a big time saver for anyone with a lot of projects that they need to manage. We'll also continue to work on the rule mode editor for scan execution policies. This will allow you to edit scan execution policies in an intuitive UI rather than having to write them in YAML. All right, and moving on to secure. In composition analysis, the primary focus will be on enabling continuous vulnerability scans. This project will also enable us to replace our license scanner. It's a very large project that's expected to span multiple milestones. So we'll be working on that for a while. We'll also continue or start work actually on the license approval policies. So this is something that will eventually replace the current license check functionality and will enable you to set a scan result policy based on the results of a license scan. All right, so for static analysis, we'll continue to work on our consolidation of our SAS scanners onto SemGrep. In addition to working on new languages like C# and Scala, we'll be enabling SemGrep by default for scanning JavaScript, TypeScript, React, Go, and Python projects. And then for code quality, we'll be working on a redesigned MR widget to provide a better experience in merge requests and continue the work to improve the code quality inline diff. All right, for dynamic analysis, we'll be working on adding GraphQL schema support for Dast API and API fuzzing. So it'll enable incredibly easy configuration when testing GraphQL APIs by automatically using the schema that's already available in the repo. Also for on-demand Dast API, we'll be switching our analyzer over to the API security engine. This will immediately enable a lot of functionality that was previously missing on on-demand Dast API scans, such as scanning GraphQL APIs and using Postman collections to configure the test. Switching that analyzer over will also pave the way for us to release our API security analyzer as GA. Been a lot of improvements in this analyzer, and we're excited to use it by default for all of the API scans. And then finally, we'll be continuing work on the browser-based Dast active vulnerability checks. And now that we've released all of the existing passive checks, we're moving on to the active checks and plan to release those throughout the next few milestones. All right, that is all for Sec in 15.4. So now on to Taylor for Model Ops.
Hi, everyone. My name is Taylor McCaslin. I'm representing our Model Ops section. I want to cover a couple of different areas, the first one being applied ML. For that, we're approaching our release of suggested reviewers. So we're going to release this in 15.4. This will be a beta feature, but this is our first machine learning powered feature at GitLab. This creates a model to recommend reviewers based on the code changes in your merge requests. So look forward for this for ultimate customers, and this will help improve key usability workflows for choosing reviewers for a merge request. Then moving on to MLOps. We're exploring using the GitLab package registry as a model registry. If you're not familiar with what the package registry is capable of today, it has a capability called generic packages, which we're exploring extending to support machine learning capabilities. As you version models, you can push them into a generic package and push them to GitLab and use the package API to push and pull like you would a package. We're excited about this. We'll also add support for managing metadata and experiment metrics with this. So excited to extend the package registry for machine learning use cases. The incubation engineering team is also in this area exploring an experimental feature for experiment tracking. Experiment tracking is a common technique for machine learning modeling when you're exploring data sets and trying different things. The incubation team is looking at creating a hosted version of the open source project MLflow and making that available to GitLab registered users. So look forward to this experimental feature. If you use MLflow, definitely participate in this epic and help give our incubation engineers some direction. And then finally, I want to talk about a new section that we haven't previously talked about, which is our anti-abuse section. This is really about protecting GitLab instances from user behavior that disrupts productivity and an organization's ability to build and deploy code. One thing I'll say here is that we don't talk about a lot of the details here because we don't want to tip off any abusers of what specifically we're doing to thwart their nefarious activities. But we are introducing a new capability to ban users at the group level. This is new for GitLab.com. You'll be able to ban and unban users if you're an admin. This will also tie into some new functionality that we'll be releasing in 15.4 that will allow organizations to automatically block users who take certain actions on the platform that they have deemed inappropriate or nefarious. This is the start of us really introducing intelligent rules to help protect your GitLab instance from people like insider threats. So that is a quick overview of what we're planning for the model ops and anti-abuse sections, and I'll hand it back to David to round us out.
Thank you, Taylor, and thank you, presenters, for another great release kickoff. So many great things are coming in 15.4. I can't highlight all of them because it took the team 25 minutes to tell you about them, and so I'll just grab a couple to highlight for you. So first, under GitLab hosted first, there's really a lot of great work being done by the Geo team, looking to continue to make progress on moving projects and wikis to the self-service framework, as well as registries. On improve key workflow usability, make it easier to distinguish merge request pipelines, surface use variables when retrying jobs. The options and the updates that Josh gave around global search is really cool as well. Suggested reviewers getting fully integrated into the UI. DAST API and API plus testing supporting GraphQL, also really cool. CI, or the CA team, the composition analysis, working on building out the needed infrastructure to support continuous vulnerability scanning. Switching over, having group and subgroup scan result policies, making it easier and making progress to introduce things like iterations and milestones for work items. Also really cool. Tasks is amazing. If you've not seen it, please go play with it. It's really cool. Being able to block merging if a failed status check happens. And then finally, things like support autocomplete suggestions in the content editor. And then finally, with the externally in CI/CD, introducing the incident workflow to the GitLab Slack app, very cool. Being able to have comparative reports on the DORA metrics, as well as improvements to how you can run reports with a date range picker. Again, just a couple of the highlights. Please check out the release kickoff page for the fullest of items that we discussed today. And please like and comment on the issues the team highlighted today. It's the best way we can engage with you. This is going to be our best release yet. I know I say that every time, but I feel like this one's going to be the best one. So thank you everyone for watching and joining the release kickoff, and have a great day.